in my normal day job, one of my account managers actually had to go flood his house flood, and he had to kind of stay at an Airbnb, and he was paying 5 times what I was getting on a long-term rental, and for a house that was a decade older. And it made me realize I was doing something wrong. And I quickly made a shift, and I couldn't find anything that was a natural fit. And since I had a history and kind of doing some construction and things, we started from there and built 8 units from the ground up over the last 2.5 years.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm Kristen, and I'm here with Brian Steiner, who is the owner of Casitas at Sun Valley. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff: short-term rentals, long-term rentals, but specifically, we're going to talk about tiny homes, which I'm really excited to talk about. So thanks for being here, Brian.
Thank you for having me.
So, you've been able to build this really cool portfolio, but I'd love for you to start at the beginning and kind of talk about what got you into real estate, what made you fall in love with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, oddly enough, my father always likes to kind of push me on some random pieces. So, in college, I didn't want to live in the dorms and all of that kind of fun stuff. So, my dad and I made an agreement. He would buy me a house, but I had to rent out all the rooms and act as the landlord, so he didn't have to cover the mortgage.
Yeah.
And I accepted that a long time ago. It feels like yesterday, right? But I accepted that, and for my 4 years through college, I rented out all the other rooms, learned all the pitfalls of long-term rentals, and kind of
Yeah.
got the bug because I had free capital to do things that normally I wouldn't have to. I didn't have to work a crazy, I did work a 9 to 5 job while doing college, but I didn't have to, and so that became some extra pieces. And leaving college, I was able to kind of buy my own home from there. And every time I've kind of changed or needed to upgrade as my family, as I got married and had kids and everything else, I followed that kind of house hack mentality that you hear on Bigger Pockets and others, and I kept just renting out units and units as I did that, and kind of accumulated a long-term rental portfolio over a series of years, which had its own challenges and fun and everything along those cycle. I ended up moving my family all the way to San Antonio, and managing long-term rentals from 4.5 hours away is not the easiest thing in the world. Especially when you were the one doing a lot of the work and being the handyman and all those pieces. So learning systems was a huge priority. And then as we moved into the area, we kind of fell into a property for personal reasons. I wanted a woodworking workshop, and my dad needed a place to come see his grandkids. So we needed a place to stay. And so the Casitas of Sun Valley started off as a personal place, but about a year into that whole excitement and everything that was going on, we in my normal day job, one of my account managers actually had to go flood his house flood, and he had to kind of stay at an Airbnb, and he was paying 5 times what I was getting on a long-term rental, and for a house that was a decade older. And it made me realize I was doing something wrong. And I quickly made a shift, and I couldn't find anything that was a natural fit. And since I had a history and kind of doing some construction and things, we started from there and built 8 units from the ground up over the last 2.5 years.
Wow, that's so impressive. I would love for you to talk a little bit more about your long-term rental experience and some of the challenges that you had there.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Yeah, what I find really interesting about long term is you get these beautiful places, you put your heart and soul into them. In my case, I'd lived into them, and that kind of pulls at heartstrings when things go wrong, or a tenant breaks something or something like that. Even if it's not your furniture or whatever else, you still feel this connection to that building, right? And so, if you're building it like I was with house hacking, then that's something you kind of have to deal with, and something I've actually had to mentor people after the fact on how to kind of deal with and process those pieces and realize it is a business. Things are going to happen, and you kind of have to kind of go with those terms. But not only from the landlord side, even from the tenant side, anything over 3 months and people feel this ownership. I know they know they're paying a landlord, they know they're doing these pieces, but it almost feels anything, whether you're having to raise the rents because your costs went up, or whether you're having to deal with them moving out, even if it's their choice, or any of those pieces, everything becomes almost a life or death situation. It's very personal in long-term rentals because they
Right.
feel that attachment to that building, that home. That's where they've raised kids or suffered that medical emergency, and they just have this kind of heart-drawn piece to that building. And that piece is something that you have to articulate and deal with when you deal with long term. And it's not only the approach, but also kind of the empathy that you have to realize as a landlord, right? It's easy to say, "Hey, my costs went up. I need to go raise my rents," right? But how do you justify that for that tenant in a
Right.
way that makes sense and they don't feel like you're attacking them? And so it's really about reframing and rephrasing and how you deal with those interactions from a day-to-day basis from just that tenant perspective. So that tenant relationship is critical. The secondary piece is how do you deal with things as they come up, whether that's finding new tenants or whether that's, actually dealing with things that break in a home that is going to break. It's kind of accustomed to any kind of building and getting older in general. And so it's really about what I had to learn over those, decade plus that we were doing long terms was really how do I put in those systems? How do I put in those people? And how do I ensure that everybody has a job and knows what to do and everything's documented well enough that all I have to do is pick up a phone and send somebody versus me having to spend hours and hours kind of diagnosing the issues or
Right.
walking somebody where the plunger is or any of those pieces you hear the nightmare stories around, right? And so really that documentation, that process, that keeping organized becomes the next critical piece of that. And once you can do those pieces, scaling, whether it's 1, 10, 20, gets a whole lot easier. And once you know how to build those teams, gets a whole lot easier as you kind of go. I hope I answered that
No,
for you.
absolutely. You answered it really well, really thoroughly. Like, I feel like the team, that's a really hard part of it. Like hiring people that have a shared mindset as you, shared goals and shared work ethic. How did you go about finding the right people to supplement, yourself?
At first, it was just searching people on Google, and that worked to a degree. But you don't get the buy-in, you don't get the passion. You get those random people. We've had cleaners on the short term that decided that it would be a great idea after they clean the place to show up at 2 o'clock in the morning to show their friends the next morning,
Love it.
which is not always the greatest thing in the world. So luckily, no issues there. But what ended up turning the corner for us was sharing the story, right? That story of why you're doing these pieces, on where the intentionality is, on where you're going, and letting people buy in. And then also, I found not finding corporate conglomerates to kind of help you in your business because you're just a number to those corporate conglomerates, right? But to a local business, they care deeply about that clientele, about their reputation. When you share with them the journey, whether you're building, I mean, you're excited. That's why you got into it in the first place. There's some reason that's driving you as an investor, whether you're hands off or hands on. There's a reason why you're doing that. And a simple thing, just as just sharing that story and bonding with them on those levels, helps grant those excitement. And then we start bringing in that local talent, those local reputations. Not only is it a way where you can quickly get real reviews because your local Facebook market is going to tell whether they're amazing or terrible,
Mhm.
but it's also a great way to truly kind of build people into the business, almost like it's a family-run business, even though you have multiple different groups and agencies and entities all kind of working together.
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good way to go about it. And again, like hiring the people, that's the hardest part is working with other people and making sure that, you hire correctly and fire quickly. So then, you moved into short-term rentals, which, based on the challenges from long-term makes a lot of sense. What challenges are there in short term? Like what are you kind of still navigating within that?
Yeah, I would say when you're first getting started and you're on your one unit, you have a lot of questions. And is this market going to be right? And it's a lot about research and making sure you found the right property in the right location. Stack onto that what we did, which was actually real estate development, actually building them. Then it's all the permitting and all the regulation and pieces that you're having to kind of get through. So that was kind of those first hurdles that we faced. That really relying on some local talent, building that team, like you just talked about, became really, really relevant. That kind of taught us along the way. Once you get past that first unit or two, what you find out is that when you start building the right team, things start clicking. But then having the organization, having the structures, having the pieces in place, because inevitably somebody's going to have to take vacation. Inevitably somebody's going to get sick, and you have to be able to kind of scale. It's still a business. You're still helping people. You can't just shut down your doors because a part of your team isn't functional, whether that's yourself or anyone else. And you didn't get into investments and things to work 24/7, 365
Right.
as well. Generally, people left a 9 to 5 day job or something that was taking their time to kind of go pursue these pieces, right? So, how do you start to build those sections? And so, what we quickly realized is, we were building tiny homes. They didn't have space for large linen closets and places to go store these things. We had great tips to like have 3 sets of linens. You have one clean on your bed and have one back up and have one in wash at all times. Those are all great pieces. But when you get to 8 and 10 and 12 units, where do you put all that stuff, right? And you can't have your cleaners who are turning 3 and 4 and 5 units in a day between 10 a.m. checkouts and 3 o'clock check-ins. You can't have them washing the laundry while you're there. So your team kind of grows, and you have to go find new people. And in certain areas, especially where short terms are really successful, in those niche markets that may be close to, touristy kind of places, you don't have like a great laundromat that's willing to go take in all of your laundry for 8 units at a time. It doesn't seem like it'd be that much, but the piles are stacked higher than your head and wider than a car at times, right? So, really building in those processes, finding those companies who have unique models and can kind of take in those places becomes that key to success and how you scale and how you kind of drive that success threshold. And then, you look at a lot of the big influencers today, your Cody Sanchez's and even Rob Abasolo and all these areas, and they talk about, setting up the right teams and partners and places and how that goes and letting yourself kind of work yourself out of the business. I'm a big fan of anytime you're working in your business and not on your business, to figure out either a way to replace yourself, either through automation or through a team member to kind of do that and making the financials work along those sides.
Yeah, I mean, that makes so much sense. You've broke it down really well. I would love to talk about the tiny homes. I think it's such an interesting kind of new sector that's being folded into the real estate model. Can you just talk about the importance of it and the opportunity that you're seeing with it?
Yeah, well, we quickly realized like I said, bought 3 acres for personal use, and then we're trying to figure out as we are scaling the Airbnb practice or the short-term rental practice, how that would look. Whether we wanted to do like 2 big homes, whether we want to do a bunch of small ones, and As we kind of did the research and looked at the financials behind it, as well as what people were kind of facing, it quickly became apparent that being able to test and adapt quickly was one of the big things we wanted to do.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
And especially in a market that wasn't like, we're in Spring Branch, Bulverde. It's not typically, you don't think of us on the map. Like, there's no national park, or, you don't think of us in that kind of place. However, the local Hampton Inn's charging $250 a night, which is downtown Austin rates, to go stay there. And so there's obviously some demand and some pieces. So as we wanted to look at it, we wanted to be able to pivot and shift and make sure we could accommodate our end user experience that we were chasing after very quickly. And so what we wanted was, we wanted you to have that 5-star luxury feel, but have the rustic nature of the Texas Hill Country. We wanted you to feel like you were walking into modern spaces that were almost off grid and potentially off grid in the future, but having every amenity that you would expect out of a 5-star experience. In my previous life, I've traveled the world for major corporations, stayed in, beautiful resorts in Vegas and Dubai and all through different kind of areas. And one of the pieces that I wanted to bring back was that experience that you got from just this zero touch, just beautiful stay, just where you felt like you were actually escaping your home. I didn't want what you feel like when I go to a party Airbnb in Austin, which is, labels on everything, and I got to look at this, 50,000 page guest book when I come in with all the rules and regulations and things. And then, the laundry list of things that we had to clean up afterwards to not get charged a fee or something as we left. So frictionless. We have smart locks that let everybody in, and it's the last 4 digits of their phone number so that they don't have to think about it or remember a code. Luxury. We have spa showers in every facility. We treat everybody with coffee and creamers and everything else. All the bed linens are made to be nice, and we do memory foam mattresses and everything. So we want you to have a great night's sleep and an experience. Everything is focused around getting to be able to experience nature, even in a modern kind of experience. And then we do nothing but quartz or high-end finishes, high-end appliances, so that you feel like if you want to cook and that's the experience that you want to do, you can do that. If you want to do nothing and just relax, it can be delivered to your door. If you want to just have a do nothing weekend and just enjoy a spa shower for multiple jets, then that's what you can do. And our next level will be adding on services such as, massages coming to you, personal chefs, things like that, where you can get those experiences that aren't even offered in the area typically, but we're working through local partnerships to kind of enhance that experience, all in this frictional experience where to leave, you just leave the beds unmade, throw your towels on the floor, and head out the door on your way. That way you kind of get that rustic experience, but you get the modern feel, and you don't feel like you're walking into a 50-page encyclopedia of what you can and can't do in those areas, right?
Yeah, and I think maybe people who aren't familiar with tiny homes might look at that and be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna stay there. It's too small." But it's the same size as a hotel room, which that's an interesting thing to compare it against, because it's the exact same space, if not you're utilizing the space better. So you have a lot more to work with. I would love for you to talk about kind of like the design, because your casitas are gorgeous. They're beautifully designed, and I know you have domes as well. I would love for you to talk about kind of the design strategy behind it.
Yeah, so we looked at a lot of things. There's a lot of unique stays. There's a lot of interesting pieces, and oddly enough, we ended up having to pay for the whole property out of cash, because as we went down the financing route, people heard tiny homes and thought, 2 wheels and a trailer with like some things kind of stuck together, or just like really, not really well done and really well designed. And that's not what we wanted. And so the initial build cycle, we had to kind of front load the cash on it, which was really interesting. But when we wanted to kind of pursue this, we started looking at what all was available, and what quickly became kind of the crutch was, and why we ended up building and designing ourselves was we wanted this experience where you didn't feel like you were cramped in these places. Our quote unquote larger units are only 800 square feet, but you have two full size bathrooms with two spa showers. You've got walk-in closets. You've got a dining area that can fit 6 people. You got full size kitchens with every amenity, full size refrigerators, everything. So you're walking into a tiny home, but you get that experience of like a nice full size kitchen. We've had people actually stay for up to a year at a time,
Oh, wow.
at times, because it's an easy place to go, but they may be building a house local in the area or whatever the case may be. And so they've wanted to kind of continue to stay. As we moved into kind of trialing the next phase of that, which was a 400 square foot unit, we wanted that studio feel. We still didn't want to give up any of that experience though. So things like the walk-in closet had to go, but moving them into wardrobes that could also dual as places to kind of, keep where the TVs were originally going to come on and swivel between them, but we ended up mounting to the wall. So you get this great space to kind of play board games or do places. And we just had to get more unique with how we design. So you still have a full king bed, you still get a studio place, and it's a great place to stay for even a week or so at a time. We can fit 4 people in a 400 square foot unit. That's probably a little tight, but if you're enjoying the outdoors like we want you to, and you're exploring those areas, it's a great place to kind of unfold the couch into a bed, sleep, fold it back up, and that's the kind of experience you'd be in a tiny home. But you still get that luxury feel. You still get high end finishes. You still get all those pieces that we want to deliver in those experiences. And then as we moved into the domes, that became a place where we got a little bit more room to kind of stretch our creative muscles a little bit. So where you see in a lot of these, you see these like loft beds, and you don't really get to capture a lot of the greatness that comes with domes, which is this beautiful panoramic view, these giant skylights to see the stars. And that's one of the things we really loved about the property we're on. We're in this kind of dark skies area, and so there's not a whole lot of lights that break out the stars. So I wanted you to be able to experience that, whether you were laying in bed looking up through the skylight, or whether you were taking a shower, or whether you were cooking, all those pieces. So having it so that all of those areas could actually look up and see the sky became part of the crucial design. And then we didn't want to take away from that experience of like, if I want to go cook and I want to do that, I want that experience. We still have full kitchens even in the domes. And then we were trying to figure out, with no real walls, where do I put a TV in this place? Because some people still want to watch TV when they go out places. And so we custom fabricated footboards that the TVs actually lift out of the footboard. So you get a beautiful view, or you can have the TV with just a click of a button. And it also seems like magic, and it's kind of fun to play with too. So.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways to maximize your space. I mean, really, when you get into it, it's really mind blowing how you can put so much into such a small area. Well, what you've built is really impressive, and I really encourage everyone to check out Casitas at Sun Valley. Talk about kind of where you guys are headed and what you see for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking. So, we're going to scale out to a couple more properties. This whole multi-unit piece where we can focus on those experiences has been an enlightening journey that we're kind of doubling down on. One, in the current location, we're going to start to add those amenities, both from the services perspective, like we talked about, but also add on amenities. We're going to kind of segregate out the 3 sections. So we've got 2 of the larger ones, larger being 800 square feet, kind of 4 of those 400 square feet, and the domes. And so we're going to be kind of segregating those out into like family style pieces by potentially adding on a little movie theater and some tree climbing kind of exercises on the quad, as I call it, which is our 400 square feet units. Those we're going to kind of add some Instagram worthy areas where we can take pictures, maybe add on some hot tubs, kind of get that experience where if you want to take a wedding party or a bachelorette party or anything else like those, you can actually still come out and enjoy those, take your fun pictures, and really enjoy the space while still going out to the venues. And then the domes are far enough away from everything where they can stay away from those noises, but they get these beautiful views of our Guadalupe River Valley that's here locally. And so we are adding on a kind of a secondary deck there to add on plunge pools and saunas added to those. So you get that a true experience and that spa feel with those. But then over the next couple of years, we're also looking at expanding to 2 more properties, adding on, again, we want to go resort style amenities when we go with those, whether that be pickleball courts or chef experiences or whatever we kind of makes sense from those perspectives.
Yeah.
We're finding that area, when you go somewhere, you don't want to go jump around. You're coming for an area, but you're also wanting to kind of experience those places without having to drive and be in the mix of 5 million people. And so bringing some of those to the guests is going to be kind of paramount in kind of how we expand. And then also adding on chapters. Now that we've figured out these scaling areas, these ways to kind of make this efficient, we are working on doing some consulting for a couple of areas in Fredericksburg and even outside the state. We're working with some groups in Tennessee already as well.
Amazing. Well, it all sounds really exciting. And, I can't wait to see how it grows. What you've been able to do, I mean, thus far is really impressive. So tell everyone where to find you and how to, book a stay with you.
Yeah, so we are at www.casitas@sunvalley.com. We're live on there every day. We check those, and we're willing to get everybody kind of checked in. We do kind of separate it out so you can book the whole place at once, a section of once, or in any individual unit. We'd love to host anybody.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here, Brian.
Thank you so much for having me, Kristen.
Yes, and I hope you learned a lot, got some inspiration for your own business, and we'll see you back next time. So thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.